Most Americans have a specific number in their head when they think about retirement, age 62. It's the age you can finally collect Social Security, the age your coworkers talk about like it's the finish line, and for many, the age they've been counting down to for decades. After all, you've worked hard for 30 or 40 years, you've raised a family, paid off the mortgage, and you're tired of the grind. So the moment you see that option to start collecting benefits, it feels like freedom. But here's the reality that very few people talk about. Retiring at 62 might feel like winning the race, but for many Americans, it's the start of a slow, expensive mistake. Because what happens next often catches many people off guard. Their income drops faster than they expected, healthcare costs skyrocket because Medicare doesn't start until 65, and the Social Security benefit they locked in early ends up being permanently reduced, not just for them, but for their surviving spouse too. So while it feels like you're getting a head start, the truth is retiring too early can quietly cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. And yet, millions of Americans do it every single year. That's why today I want to talk about the real reason so many people regret retiring at 62 and what you can do to avoid falling into the same trap. Hi, I'm Hank Persia, President and owner of Starboard Wealth Advisors. For over 2 decades, I've been helping successful professionals and retirees plan the next phase of their life with confidence and certainty. If you find this video helpful, I'd encourage you to watch our other videos and share the ideas with someone who's thinking about retiring soon. In this video, we're going to unpack why so many Americans regret retiring at 62, not because they didn't save enough or plan poorly, but because of how timing, taxes, and health costs collide at that age. We'll cover the emotional pull of retiring early and why it can cloud your judgment, the hidden costs between age 62 and 65 that most people underestimate, and how a few small strategic adjustments can completely change your long-term outcome. So before you decide that freedom at 62 is your goal, let's walk through the numbers and the psychology that make it one of the most misunderstood milestones in retirement planning. Part 1, the myth of freedom at 62. For most people, the idea of retiring at 62 isn't really about math, it's about emotion. You've been working since your 20s or 30s, you've earned the right to slow down, and that first glimpse of Social Security benefit statement feels like the reward you've been waiting for. But here's where the reality kicks in. Retiring at 62 doesn't just mean leaving your job. It means ending contributions to your retirement accounts and locking in a smaller Social Security check for life. You see, Social Security benefits are based on your highest 35 years of earnings. If you retire early and those last few years are zeros, your average lifetime earnings will go down, which permanently reduces your benefit. Plus, you lose the ability to replace any zero earning years, prior years, with income years. Then there's the early claiming penalty. If you're full retirement age 67, claiming at age 62 reduces your monthly benefit by about 30% for the rest of your life. That means instead of $2,000 a month, you might only receive $1,400. That's a $600 reduction every single month, or $7,200 per year, potentially for decades. And it's not just your check that's smaller. If you're married, your spouse survivor benefits is also based on your reduced amount. So claiming early doesn't just affect you, it affects your household for years to come. Plus, any income you might earn between ages 62 and your full retirement age will be limited. Otherwise, you may have to give back $1 of Social Security benefits for every $2 earned over their allowed annual retirement earnings test threshold. This test also makes it hard going back to work if you found you had not saved enough initially. The freedom at 62 sounds appealing, but the trade-off is locking in less income, less flexibility, and a greater dependence on your investments to make up the difference. Part 2, the healthcare gap that catches people off guard. This is one of the biggest reasons early retirees regret their decision, the healthcare gap. Medicare doesn't start until age 65. So if you retire at 62, you're on your own for 3 full years. Private health insurance for a 62-year-old couple can easily run $1,200 to $1,800 a month, sometimes more if you need comprehensive coverage or have a pre-existing conditions. That's $15,000 to $20,000 per year before you've even paid for a single doctor's visit. And if you try to bridge the gap using COBRA from your prior employer, you might only have 18 months of coverage, often at a much higher premium than what you were paying while employed. Now, many people have decided to start Social Security early to help cover these costs, but that creates another problem. The early income means more taxable benefits, which can push you into higher marginal tax breaks or increase the taxation of your Social Security later. And if you start tapping retirement accounts before age 59 and a half, you could face 10% early withdrawal penalties on top of regular income taxes. So you can see how quickly a freedom decision turns into a cash flow and tax problem. This 3-year window between 62 and 65 is often one of the most expensive gaps in a person's entire retirement timeline. That's why I always advise before someone decides to retire early, they need to map out exactly how you'll handle healthcare, not just financially, but strategically. Part 3, the tax timing mistake most people never see coming. When people stop working at 62, they often think, finally, my income will drop and I'll be in a lower tax bracket. That's technically true, but it's also a missed opportunity. Those early retirement years, before Social Security and before IRS RMDs, and before major withdrawals, can actually be the best window for proactive tax planning. Here's why. Let's say you retire at 62 with most of your wealth in traditional 401ks and IRAs. You might think, I'll just let that money grow. But at age 73, the IRS forces you to start taking required minimum distributions, RMDs. Depending on your balance, those RMDs can push you into higher tax brackets, sometimes even higher than when you were working. That can also increase the taxation of your Social Security benefits and trigger IRMA surcharges on your Medicare premiums. But if you use those early ages between 62 and 70 strategically, you can convert pre-tax money into Roth IRAs at lower rates, manage your taxable income, and reduce future RMDs. That means you're paying tax on your terms, not when the IRS says you have to. This kind of tax sequence doesn't happen by accident. It requires planning, but it can easily save 6 figures in taxes over the course of retirement. Part 4, the emotional cost of retiring too soon. Money aside, there's another kind of cost most people never plan for, the psychological shift that comes with stopping work. For decades, your life had structure. You woke up, had a routine, interacted with coworkers, and felt productive. Then suddenly it all stops. And at first it feels like relief. But a few months in, many retirees start asking, what do I do now? It's not uncommon for new retirees to spend more in the first year, not because they're careless, but because they're searching for purpose. Travel, home projects, new hobbies, it all adds up. And after all, every day is like a Saturday. This period, especially from 62 to 67, is when overspending can quietly erode savings. The retirees I've seen who thrive long-term are the ones who retire to something, not from something. They find purpose through volunteering, part-time consulting, mentoring, or creative work that keeps them engaged and adds meaning in their days. And sometimes that continued engagement even creates income, helping offset healthcare costs or reduce withdrawals early on. Financial planning is math. Retirement planning is math plus meaning. And without both, early retirement can start to feel less like freedom and more like uncertainty. Part 5, the right way to retire early if you really want to. If your goal truly is to retire at 62, it's possible, but it takes more than a budget, it takes a strategy. Here are a few ways to make it work wisely. First, stress test your income plan. Ask yourself, what happens if the market drops 20% in the first year of retirement? Could your withdrawals still hold up? A Monte Carlo analysis or cash flow projection can show whether your plan is built to last or if it only works in a perfect market. Second, map out your withdrawal sequence. Use a blend of taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free accounts to control income levels. Convert IRAs to Roths in lower tax years, and consider delaying Social Security to increase your guaranteed income later, even if that means drawing down savings first. Third, plan for healthcare early. Research ACA marketplace plans, explore part-time consulting with benefits, or use health savings accounts, HSAs, as a bridge. Even one spouse maintaining limited coverage can dramatically lower total costs. Fourth, redefine retirement. It doesn't have to mean never working again. It can mean flexibility, doing what you want, when you want, and how you want. Some of my happiest clients still consult a few hours a week, not because they have to, but because they want to, since it keeps them active, socially connected, and fulfilled. Part 6. The real reason most Americans regret retiring at 62. It's not the stock market, it's not inflation, and it's not a lack of discipline. It's misalignment between the dream of early retirement and the financial reality that supports it. Most people focus on the date they'll stop working, not the plan that will sustain them for the next 30 years. They think in terms of, can I afford to retire, instead of, can I afford to stay retired? That shift from a short-term finish line to a long-term framework is what separates confident retirees from those who live with regret. If you plan intentionally, you can absolutely retire early. But if you rely on emotion, guesswork, or Social Security alone, the odds are stacked against you. So if you're thinking about retiring at 62, or if you already have, take a step back and ask, how long will my income last under different market conditions? Have I used the early years to minimize lifetime taxes? And do I have a clear health care and lifestyle plan through age 65 and beyond? If you're approaching retirement and want to make sure your plan is working for you and not against you, let's talk. Click the link in the description below to book a free consultation, and I'll walk you through your options. Remember, at Starboard Wealth Advisors, your financial destination is why we're here. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, make sure to watch our other videos for more clear, no-fluff retirement guidance, or contact us for a simple phone or Zoom call. Hope to see you on our next video.